Hey guys, my name is Matteo, and today's challenge, a lot of you wanted me to use the tow missile launcher on the attack helicopter to snipe other helicopters out of the sky in Battlefield 4. Admittedly, going into this, I thought that it was going to be impossible. First of all, I had completely forgotten that this was even in the arsenal for the attack chopper. No one uses this thing on the battlefield. I can't remember the last time I died to a tow missile in the attack chopper because it just doesn't, at least in my opinion, compare to all of the other customization that's available for this aircraft. I mean, when you compare it to especially like the AA missiles, it just does not stand up to the other things in the game. And so going into this challenge, I of course was going to attempt it. I always try out the challenges that you guys recommend, but I assumed that I was going to fail at it miserably. I was going to attempt it for a couple of hours. I was going to realize that this just isn't working. I'm spending way too much time not getting any kills, and I was just going to have to push this onto the side and call it a failure and move on to something else. That happens every so often. I don't succeed on every challenge that you guys recommended, but I assumed that this was going to be one of those cases. Then I got my very first kill. My second kill was a jet that was flying on by. I didn't screech for joy, I didn't freak out or anything like that, because I was shell-shocked. I could not believe that I sniped a jet out of the sky with this missile because it's ridiculously challenging to actually achieve anything like this. I would not say, even after I've spent like 5 hours trying to get gameplay, that the tow missile is really something that I would recommend for normal gameplay. Really, the biggest thing that holds it back is that this works much like the tow missile or the SRA does, where it is wire guided, but the twist on it, and I don't understand why DICE did this, is that as soon as you fire the rocket, it kind of veers off in a random direction and then starts to fly and corrects its course halfway through. It makes it really difficult to understand where this thing is in relation to what you're trying to shoot at. I mean, with the SRA, for example, if a helicopter is just standing still, it's pretty easy just to point and click at the enemy and you're going to be able to secure the kill. Same is true for the stationary tow missile. But because this thing veers off in a random direction, it's really hard to know where it is in relation to that aircraft, and to snipe it out of the sky is ridiculously challenging. It was for that very point why I thought that I was not going to be able to complete this challenge whatsoever. I thought it was that very design decision, for whatever reason DICE decided to do it, that was going to make this just nigh on impossible. One nice thing about it, though, is that DICE in a recent update did increase its movement speed. Before the patch, this thing was very slow and cumbersome, and that resulted in it being very challenging to hit anything down on the ground. Because you need to move around a lot, you need to stay nimble unless you want to get sniped by an RPG or a SRA, something down on the ground, you need to be moving constantly. But because it took such a long time for the tow missile to reach its destination, it just really wasn't all that viable. It was even less viable than I think it is today. And so that is one redeeming quality of this thing. It moves very fast, and so if you line it up and you got it solid, this thing is going to reach its destination very quickly and you're going to get that nice fireball. The thing is, though, is that even with that small upgrade, I still can't see this being a viable customization option when you are flying in the attack helicopter, unless you are a god in this vehicle and you have mastered sniping other aircrafts out of the sky. Like, even in my 5 hours, yes, I am more comfortable with it. Yes, I feel a lot better than I did at the very beginning to snipe a chopper, but it is still no easy task. Like, there's a lot of luck. Like, there is a lot of luck involved, and I can only imagine that even after like 20 or 40 hours of trying to master this thing, there would still be a ridiculous amount of luck to be able to secure these kills, and I just can't see that being the thing that gets someone to continuously use this over and over and over again. When you use it in its main function to take out ground vehicles, it's not all that impressive. I found that out more and more, that if I was going to do a strafe run over a tank, I would be better off just using my main Zuni rockets, for example. You do like 40 damage if they don't have their active protection up, and the tow missile only does like a solid 25. Sure, 25 damage is nothing to laugh about, it's like a solid RPG, but I just don't know why you would want to use that over like your Zuni rockets, because they just do significantly more damage. Really, the only way that I could see this being somewhat viable is if you've gone through all of your primary rockets, you're waiting on that recharge, you're waiting on them to reload, and instead of just twiddling your thumb lining up targets for your gunner, you do have a secondary option to at least do some moderate amount of damage. Then and only then I could see that being helpful. But because there's just a ridiculous amount of things that can lock onto you in this game, there's so many things that can take you out, you're constantly ducking in and out of cover. You're constantly going in and out of combat, because if you just stay in the thick of combat for about a minute or two, there's no way that you're gonna last for an extended period of time. Like, something's eventually gonna take you out, and so you constantly have to get out and recharge your ammo regardless. And so unless you're just this badass that can destroy everyone down on the ground and you neutralize every single stinger threat, you can just destroy everyone with this combo, I can't see this being all that viable, and it really just shows why no one uses the tow missile whatsoever when they are using this aircraft. But overall, I am glad that I attempted this challenge. As I mentioned, I thought that it was going to be impossible. I thought that I was going to just have to push this one to the side. I assumed that I was going to fail at it, but when I finally started to get kills with it, those helicopter kills were ridiculously satisfying. It made all of the pain, it made all of the numerous tries absolutely worth it. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Terrible Weapon Challenge. I hope you enjoyed, but until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.